Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Tane Talks. I am your host, Tane, here with another episode of Couples Therapy, Season 5, Episode 5. Here with me for Couples Therapy is Jenn. Well, not like we're doing couples therapy together, just like,
Can we? That would be lovely.
talking about the show. Hi, Jenn. How are you?
I am. I'm not going to lie. Been a bit of an emotional roller coaster, and not because of these people on this dumb show, but because the New York Knicks have won the NBA Finals, and that was amazing. We're also watching the World Cup, and so feelings up and down as I watch some of these teams that I've never heard of. Not never heard of. I know the countries,
I like the
but like,
countries.
yeah, but you get like the backstory on the teams, and like Haiti broke my heart because they were talking about how much the team has to go through to train and how difficult it
Yeah.
was to make it, and then they lost, and I was just like, what's happening? So highs and lows, but doing good.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I mentioned on another episode on Reality Show Rambles last week that Nigeria didn't make it, and it's a big, 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 huge personality for Nigeria, which is soccer, which we call football.
Football.
But we did not qualify, so it's free for all for everybody. Like I'm open to whoever wins.
You're all, I don't care. My country's not in it. F you guys.
This. No, I mean, there's a couple of faves here. Like I'm rooting for Ivory Coast is gonna play just to see how that goes, and it's just you never know what you're gonna get. Could it be Germany? Argentina won the last World Cup. Could it be Brazil? Could it be who? Could it be? I mean, the one country. I shouldn't say it because then they're gonna win. It's just like England. They're always so close, but they just never are able to close the deal. But
Yeah.
I shouldn't say definitively that they're not going to win because the one time I say it, just watch. They are just going to take it and make me look stupid. So, anyways, but yes, it is fun times. There are watch parties
Yes.
everywhere. It's just sports is fun. Even if you don't like it, like
Yes.
listen,
Yes.
the one sport you cannot, I will try anything once. Baseball, that is whoo. It's a lot,
I
it's a
can't.
lot, it's a lot for me.
I can't watch it on TV, but it's really fun in person, especially when you go with people because it's at a pace where you can still talk to your friends and still enjoy your company, but then not be tapped out of the game. So I can't watch it on TV, but in person, I think it's fun.
I hate to break it to you. My experiences are in person. I used to live in Texas, went to the Rangers game. I was like, okay, cross the subject would not happen. Worked for a company where the higher ups really love baseball, and our head office at the time was in Chicago. And anytime they wanted to take us out, it was to see, I want to say Red Sox. Is that them? Yeah. And it's not
I
like it
thought so.
wasn't even a good experience. It was like in a box, all the food you can get, all the drinks. Still, I would opt to go home. It's not for me. And I'm sorry. I apologize. I know, but it's just, but my point was, even though that's a hype for me to watch baseball, but when it comes to like championships and like the finals, and there is nothing, there are very few feelings that feel like when a team wins,
Right. And even if
like
it's
just
not
watch.
your team, just to watch
Yeah.
people come together, like watch people bond. Like we watched it at a bar last night, and I talked to people I never would have talked to just because they saw that I was happy, so they got happy, and then they were asking me questions about the Knicks, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't know a thing. My dad was the fan. I'm really just rooting because my dad's no longer with us." But then it was just nice to have that bond, and then just to see the different watch parties in New York and to see how happy everybody was. Like, I think I love that part about sports is that it brings people and communities together. I love it.
Yeah, and also just seeing like hard work pay off. Like it's not easy
Yes.
to be an athlete. Like you see all the things that, all the work, all the blood, all the sweat, and then sometimes you come short and then finally it pays off. The Knicks have been waiting since like what? They qualified for the finals in 1999. That was the last time. It's a long time.
Mhm.
So it's just nice. And like you said, you're just happy for them.
Yeah.
I've talked many times. I am a EPL fan with soccer. My team is Manchester United, and I really, really hate Arsenal. But for the first time in how many, I want to say how many years, like I always wish them bad. Like I'm very open about it. I don't wish them anything. One of the greatest joys of my life was when they were set to win. one of the seasons, and Leicester came from behind from nowhere. Jimmy Vardy, shout out to you, took it from them. They were second. I was filled with joy because they lost at the last minute. Even worse when you come second. But this time there was no stopping them. They were gonna have it, and they finally won. And a lot of my friends and family are Arsenal. You know, we troll each other all the time, but the joy of just seeing them win, like we're Manchester United,
Yeah,
we've had those days. We know what it's like. You
yeah,
know, I mean, we're struggling right now, but it's just fun, you know, my point, to see the happiness that it brings, and we could use all the happiness that we can in the world today,
absolutely,
you know. So
absolutely.
all right, enough about that. Let's talk about these people with their issues. We are halfway through the season, so I'm gonna need Orna to pick it up and start making some progress, because I don't know about you, I'm not feeling like we're making progress.
I mean,
I feel like,
we're not progressing in their relationships, but I'm definitely feeling like I know people a little bit better. And I think it's what you were talking about last week was like, we need to know more about their backstories. And we finally got
yeah,
a little bit more of
yeah, it is. But no, for real, I need some progress. Like, these people feel like,
that.
no, again, in previous seasons, I've seen couples come in and you see the progress in them. And I feel like we're halfway through and they still feel like they're just coming here to dump, and then they go and then
Mm.
it's back to square one all over again. And I don't know, maybe they'll fast forward towards the end, but we'll see. But we start with Chris and Sienna because they're the couple that we did not see last week. And he's saying, like, oh, I did something horrible to you and I do not deserve. And she's like, oh, that's your MO. And she's like, he needs that flogging. Like, it's almost like there's a, oh, what is it called? There's a sect in the Catholic Church where they punish themselves by, flogging themselves. Oh, I forgot.
I only know it because of that Tom Hanks movie. The one,
Okay. Da Vinci
uh,
Code.
yes.
Yeah. So yeah, so it feels like, yeah, you're punishing yourself. I committed a sin, so therefore I need to be punished, which always baffles me because, in the true Christian tenet, it's supposed to be God is love. Humans are the ones who
Hmm.
came up with this, you bad, go away, you bad,
Right,
suffer. So I don't,
right.
all these things. But Chris feels like he needs to be punished for what he does, and that's what she's saying to him. And she's like, look at me. Look at me. I'm scared because I love you so much. And he's like, yeah, but I don't think I should be with you. Like, I'm just a schmuck that has mummy issues and my trust fund ran out. Wang, 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 wang. And I'm not minimizing, guys. It's just like, you've been together 12 years. Like, come on.
Did he just feel he felt to me that whole time was those guys that like are jerks because they don't want to break up with the girl, so they're giving her 1,000 reasons to break up with him, and it's like so that he can walk away and be like, oh no, I don't know, she just left me, it's because I'm so tender, somebody help me. And it just annoyed me about him more.
Here's the thing. I was sticking up for him. I completely understand that he feels like he's not worth or worthy of her. But this should have been sorted out, I guess is where I'm
Right,
going to. Not like
right.
there's a timeline, but if you're like 2 years in, 5 years in, I'm like, okay, you're new, you're getting to know each other, you're like 3 kids deep, even though they only talk about 2 kids, and 13 years behind you and been through so much. At this point, if you don't think that you deserve her, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Is this a lifetime of reassuring? Like, no, you're good enough for me. Like, I'm not, it's exhausting for
But
anyone
also
to do
what's
that.
Yes, but also what's the point of having this awareness if you're not going to do anything about it? It's one thing to be like, hey, I recognize this stuff about myself. I've had this terrible thing in my childhood, and I've realized that my mom was a little bit untangled, and this is why I do what I do. But that you've got that realization, so you've got to do something about it. Like you can't rely on Sienna or whoever in your life to fix that for you. And I'm not saying he's got to be completely cured of it, and I'm not
Yeah.
saying it needs to go away, but just to say, well, this is the thing that's happened to me, and I can't help it. I'm so hurt. I'm so broken. My family lost its money. Okay, we're all aware of that now. What do you do about that to make you a good partner in your relationship? You know?
Yeah, it's a little unfair that because you feel insecure, you are hurting her, and then she's the same person that has to console you and make you feel better.
While you're actively hurting her. Yes.
Hurting her. Yeah.
Right.
So, Anyways, he's all going on, and she's like, "Look at me. Shh. Stop it. Stop it." And I'm like, all this is happening. And I'm like, where's Orner? Like, what is this one, like, two-man Broadway play that's going on? And Orner is doing that thing. She's giving us that look where it's like, I'm looking through my bifocal stare, except she does not wear glasses. But she's looking at them like, okay. Then we see them at home doing laundry and she's hugging him. And then we see Orna talking to her peers. And she's like, there are moments when she turns to him in sessions and starts telling him how amazing he is. By the way, in this moment, I was wondering, like, how does she decide what she tells her fellow people and what she tells Virginia?
Think that they have to also see tape, and that's a good point. I think that the things that she shares with the group is kind of like, let me get your perspective on the session. And I feel like with Virginia, it's like, okay, let me get perspective on how I'm approaching this, is what it
Okay.
feels like difference to me. Like
I
she kind of finds her holes and the areas that she's not deficient in, but the areas that she needs more help in with Virginia, and then with the group. And they have to watch tape. There's no way that she can relay all this information about these people accurately so that they've
Yeah,
got a really good feedback. But that's the difference, is what it feels like to me. What do you think it is?
I didn't think that hard. I just like, what is the difference? How could you? Because what more I was thinking about is the fact that I have to talk about this. I talk with these people, then I talk to Virginia, then I talk to my peer. That's a lot. Like, that's all I was thinking about. I was like, so how do I tell them? How do I make sure I'm giving them accurate stuff? That's what I was thinking about.
Gotcha.
Um, Orna says that she believes that she is hypnotizing him. In case you forgot, she means Sienna. I'm like, oh. And getting him to believe into a future that has the goodness of the world. One of them asked and is like, well, what is she getting? And another was like, I don't have a sense of her emotional center. Like, we know she's suffering, but we're not seeing her suffering. And I am like, tag me in, coach, for this peer advisement, because do you guys remember me saying this where I'm like, she seems fine. Like, we know, like, her voice changes, she gets mad from nowhere, but I was just like, she seems too fine for someone that's hurting. And that was the point where I was like, maybe Warner is right that she disassociates because that's how she copes and that's how she can move on with whatever pain that she's dealing with on her own, you know?
Yeah.
So,
No, you're good at this. You're good at this. Maybe you missed your calling as a therapist.
um, oh Lord, I do not share. It's not a secret or anything, but it is when I always tell you guys that I have, like, I'm so fascinated by the human psyche. I actually looked into, like, going back to school, getting like a not, it was not therapy, life coach type situation, and seeing like if I could, something close to therapy, but not. I didn't want to go to med school, all the things. I didn't want to be a psychiatrist and all that. But in
Yes.
that
Same.
vein, but it was too much work, student loans, all the things, and I was like, okay, it's fine. I'll just watch on TV. That's cheap. That's cheaper
I'll be an
for
armchair
that.
expert. That's cool.
That's cool. It's free. So, another says, where is her fault line? Where she is not the superwoman, but rather she falls apart. Which sounds a little bad, but I know what they mean because it's like we're not wishing her to like break down and fall apart, but it's
Hmm.
like feel your feelings, girl,
Yeah.
because you're allowed to be hurt. This is hurtful,
Yeah.
you know?
And this is couples therapy. Like, who are you as the other half of this couple other than the damaged partner?
Yeah. So, Orna says there is a lot more to find out about her. So this gave me an inkling, like, okay, I think we're gonna do Sienna's background today. Because in the last episode, we were talking about, she's taking turns and we're getting everybody's background. And the minute they talk about their background, you're like, makes all sense
Yes.
now. We get it. Okay.
Right. But if we
So
feel that way just listening to them for half an hour, like, how are their partners not getting that same sense? It's so strange.
it is. It is. So we're back to therapy now. We're back in Orna's office, and Chris is telling us how, okay, so I put the girls to bed. We're gonna have mommy daddy time. And she's like, don't fall asleep. And he's like, okay. Don't fall asleep. It's important. We're going to do this. But then he does. And she was upset and was like, he was like, no, I can rally. And she's like, nope, it's been done. I'm upset. The mood is gone. I don't want it. It's fine. It's okay. She says that it felt like evidence that she is not important to him by sheer fact, and I quote, that he couldn't even stay awake to fuck me. But for the
Ugh.
cuddles, he would move heaven and earth. And Orna turns to Chris and is like, what do you think about this comparison? And he's like, well, I mean, she kind of knows all the reasons that I'm tired. I have to put the girls to bed, pick them up from school, do this, clean up, and he's tired. But regardless, he knew how important it was to her. But even to himself, he's like, why the fuck couldn't I stay up? And Orna is like, let's forget whether or not this is bad because the urge to self flagellate when it comes to Chris is very high.
Mm-hmm.
It's top of mind. And Orna says, you feel the expectations feel from her for, wait, the expectations she has of you feel really big. And he's like, yes, but it's good because I wanted to fuck. But Sienna's expectations are important too. And Ona's like, that means that she's powerful. And then they're both like saying, yes, yes. But I don't know if they're saying yes for the same reasons.
I
Because
don't
I didn't even
think
know
so.
what they were saying yes to.
Right. But also, I'm struck by how is that powerful when everything that you've just demonstrated took her power away? Like she asked you to do this thing and you actively didn't do it. And you've actively gone and cheated on her where you put a lot of energy and effort into it. So I don't know how that makes her powerful. It seems like you're taking away her power by doing this, but I don't know. I'm not
What
there.
is your take on the whole falling asleep thing?
I have two takes that I was going to ask you about. The first one was like, how do you feel about them using this language? Like, couldn't stay awake to fuck me. And then her response was like, fuck me, fuck me. Like, why do you guys need to use such strong language? And I'm not a prude by any sense of the word, but there's something strange to me about them using these really strong words like betrayal and fuck and what was the word he used? Annihilate. And like, I don't know what it is about the two of them and these big words that just catch my attention.
Hmm. The first thing that came to mind is that it's how they met. If you remember
That's
how they
true.
described how
True.
they met in a bar, and she's like, I want to sit on your face. And it's like trying to recreate what they had. And I've always had like this pet peeve. I don't know if you ever watched the show Sex Life.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I've always, it kind of annoys me a lot because it's like this thing where they try to create this dissatisfaction, right? Because she's married, she has a kid, and it's like, oh, she's trying to recreate what she had with her boyfriend her ex-boyfriend that she met like in college or something, and a little after college when she was in her 20s she was single and all of that stuff, right? And the thing
Hmm.
is that people always say like, oh, I miss who I was, I miss it. Fine, it's all well and good to miss who you were, but we have to also be realistic. You can never be who you were when you were 20.
Right.
So trying to recreate that is setting yourself up for failure. I think we should be more accepting of the changes that are coming into your life. It's a good change. Yes, things are different. Yes, you're married now. Yes, you have a kid. Yes, kids can be exhausting, or as people say, they also bring joy into your life. So that's a new kind of happiness that you did not have when you were 20. And hopefully you have more financial freedom. You can do more of the things that you want. I don't understand why people just don't adjust the settings of the temperature rather than trying to buy a brand new thermostat.
Right. Oh,
Like
nice. Nice.
it's
So that's just
just
off the dome. Nice.
it's
Good
just
night.
so it's just, and I think that's what she's trying to do because she's not feeling her feelings, and she is insecure. She mentioned that she was like, I look, what she noticed of the cuddle buddies were they looked different from me, they were
Hmm.
younger, they had big
Hmm.
boobs and all of that
Hmm.
stuff, which she's not lacking by any means. When they were showing
No,
her in the
she's a
house, I was
gorgeous
like,
woman.
okay, those are nice boobs, okay, but I don't know. So she
She's
is
a
feeling
gorgeous woman.
she is feeling insecure, right? And
Hmm.
that is what she wants, is like, what is it that you couldn't give? Because also remember that episode where she said, if you just ask, what is it that you want to do? More than likely, I'm going to say yes,
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
So it's just, I think she's using that and feeling like it has to be that vulgar, like, yeah, I can be nasty. Miss
Okay.
Sienna, if you're nasty. I don't know, but you know. So
Well, back
that's
to
what I think.
yeah. Back to your original question of like what do I think about the sleep? And I agree with you. I think for people that are used to a level of I'm going to say trauma, but a level of chaos. And then
Mm,
when you get with somebody that's not chaotic and you're like, I don't know what to do with this calm. Like that's really what
yeah,
sex life felt like to me. Like she had on the
yeah,
surface, her husband was a great guy. He was providing and he was, if she ever said, hey, I need to go work, I'm losing my mind taking care of these kids, her husband didn't seem like the kind of guy that would be like, no, you stay home and take care of the kids. But she never asked. And so something about this calm in her life made her feel unsettled, and it made her think about the time when she didn't have any money and she stayed up late and she was out with this guy and da 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 da. So I think that's kind of what we see a lot of times in these relationships where like what happened, we have everything that's great, but if you're somebody that's used to trauma, great feels uncomfortable, stable feels uncomfortable, calm feels
yeah,
uncomfortable, so you've got to throw something, you got to throw a little bomb in there so that things are interesting again.
yeah,
And so that's what that feels like. But in terms of what I feel about him falling asleep, I guess I get it. I guess I if she wasn't a stay-at-home mom for so long, I guess I would feel more sympathy for him, but she did it for a very long time. And I'm sure she could stay awake and still F him. So I don't have any sympathy there. Yes, I get that kids are exhausting, but if your partner says, "Hey," and I guess we have this thought in our minds that men just want to have sex and can have it at any moment and sex, sex, sex.
hmm,
So when your man falls asleep on you, you're like, wait, what? So I can see how that would be devastating for her, especially since she took the initiative after
yeah,
being hurt to say, I'm ready for this. And for him to fall asleep just would feel like a dagger to me. I get why she's upset.
yeah. Okay, I'm gonna take a break and then I'll share what my thoughts are. Okay, and we're back. There was just something with the way he said it and his body language that made me think that there was more to it. Almost like he could have stayed awake if he wanted to. He could have had a chug down an energy drink, done something, I don't know what, but I feel like he just didn't want to do it. Whether
Mm,
nervousness, whether scared, whether anything, I just feel like there was more to his story and the being tired. And you make a good point because she was doing it at some point. Was that ever a situation? I also don't
mhm,
know what their sex life is at this moment. Is it something that is frequent? Is it something that it's like get it in whenever you can, especially because she's living in the city now and things. Because if it's frequent, then maybe he is tired. But for her to be like, oh, we're setting aside time, right? You know, today to do something, it makes me think like it's not as regular.
but I think, and we got the sense when they talked about her being out of town and her coming home. What did he call it? A vacation? Like when you're back from vacation, she's like, no, no, it's not vacation. I'm home. And so maybe when she is home, they're having that fun vacation sex like that. Ooh, we haven't seen each other in a week or a few days, and it's exciting. I mean, we've got to fit it in between these kids, but I would imagine even if it's not frequent, it's probably still that level of excitement he would want. I would imagine,
I don't know. I think because
but
we don't
who knows?
know, yeah,
Yeah.
what it is that that adds gravitas or no gravitas to whatever is happening. But if I had to pick, I think like I don't know, there is some meaning to him not just staying awake for something that she gave him a warning for. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And why was he so tired? Like, she's home. They could divvy up the tasks, right? I don't
Right.
know. I don't know. Anyway, so he says like the way that she framed it was like this is a big fucking deal. And she's like, "Yeah, but is it a big deal to you?" And then Orna says, "Well, when someone is so powerful, that no longer is the question. The question is, can I supply what this powerful woman wants from me?" And Chris is feeling very funny and is like, "Well, shit, I can supply it." I'm like, "No, you can't. You fell asleep, so
Mm.
stop." And
Got it.
Sienna is like, "Oh, stop, go somewhere else with that." And he says, like, the thing is, she is like big, like she's huge to me, like she's just so important to me. And Orna says, on the heels of them talking about, his mom, it's dangerous for him to be in the hands of someone powerful. this was difficult for me to watch because I'm still not fully bought into this whole Sienna is so powerful thing, but I'm just
I
going
agree.
along with it,
I
because
agree. I
I'm
agree.
like, you know what? Orna says it. What am I gonna do? Can't can't challenge it, but let's keep going. I just didn't think it will last this long, but it kept going, and I'm like, oh man, I'm running out. so, so Chris says like, oh yeah, the thing is, I can't bear to see her upset, and he lives his life mostly to avoid that feeling. How? You cheated on her. I just
I right? Yeah, I have very little sympathy for him, and I always feel like he's in a production, like he's in a play, like he's in theater. He's always everything is so dramatic with him, and I think and we'll get to this when you start talking about Sienna. Like I loved when the camera like panned away from him and we just got to focus on her. I'm like, I wonder if this is what their relationship feels like. Is like it's always the Chris show and like let's focus on her. And is there a time where he ever shifts the focus to her? And my guess is no. It doesn't feel like that at all.
I don't even think he realizes it. So I just think like he's contradicting himself. Like if you're really, and again, if she's that powerful, and here's the thing, Orna saying that she's so powerful kind of eases the sting of him cheating on her. If she's so powerful, he wouldn't have cheated on her. If he really lives his life to be like, oh, I'm mostly to avoid that feeling. I don't want her upset with me. You wouldn't cheat on her. You'd be racked with guilt, right? I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe
Ideally, yes.
yeah,
In a brain that goes from A to B, yes. But his brain goes from A to Q to apples to dumbbells. I don't
oranges.
know.
Well, it's Sienna's turn. What was it, Mariah Carey? It's time because she's like, well, Sienna, why don't you tell us about your story? And she says like she grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. They had no money. Her mom was a single mom, and she was a biracial kid, which I guess that I mentioned that the first time that we met them, that I thought she was biracial.
We thought
And
she
or
was, but we couldn't figure out which
Yeah, I
what.
think you thought she was Latina.
I did. I
Yeah.
don't know why.
And she looked well, we'll get to because I have a point in there. But Honor is like, you're biracial? And I'm like, are you surprised? Like, I don't know what that means. Like, why are you saying it again?
Have you not
And
seen
then
that 4C coil? Like she's got something in there, ma'am.
And then she goes, "Yes, my I am African American and Danish." And Orna is like, "Who's who?" And I'm like, "You know what? That's important, Orna. It is
It
very
is.
important
It is.
who the African American and who the Danish is." And she goes, "My mom is Danish, aka she's a white parent." And I found it interesting that Sienna did not say, "I am African American and Caucasian." She said African American and Danish.
I, I think, but I feel like people who have a parent from another country are very clear about that. Like there's because I think there's some you learn other things about somebody from a Danish parent than just kind of like a white parent, and so I think it's intentional.
Yeah, but if we're talking about the race, you say she's
Yeah.
white and she's from Denmark, you
But
know?
culturally, like I would imagine there she's a very different white mom because I think she said that they grew up in a predominantly white area. And so I think even having a white mom, regardless of well, also in addition to their financial situation, she was also a foreigner. So even though she's white, she's still going to be clocked as a foreigner. And I think that's important too.
I mean, I guess I'm in this thing of like, it's like me saying, oh, I'm Nigerian. If I walk on the street and no one sees me, I'm still identified as a black person. I so I don't know. I found that really important. Like she just didn't say, like I feel like she could have said my mom is white and then afterwards say but she was, and she didn't even go into details like for everything that you said. If that played a factor, she didn't even say oh my mom was Danish, oh she moved here, she came from here, if that was a big factor to say. She did not even say that. So anyways, that just struck me the way that she described it. So she says that she was bullied really badly because her mom would cut her hair super short because oh her hair was too difficult to handle. I'm like yeah, yeah, her mom definitely was the white parent. So she said she has super thick glasses and was overweight. She has a core memory of being in ballet, and she was wearing a purple leotard and black tights when everyone else was on pink on pink on pink, and everybody else was basically perfect Caucasian girls. And the ballet teacher called her out, and she just felt shamed. She remembers feeling very deeply unhappy, and she said she did ask her mom as an adult about how she was, like when she coming from the bullying, and she says her mom said, I mean, I didn't know what to do. I wish I had done something, but I just didn't. I'm like, way to
My
go,
my
mom.
bad. She's all
Woo!
my bad. Whoopsie, my bad.
Way to go, mom. I don't know. Chris, they showed a flash of Chris, and Chris looked uncomfortable, but I don't know if anything, mommy just makes him just break out in hives, but he looked a little uncomfortable to me. So when she said that's what her mom said, Orna says, what does that mean? And she said, like, listen, Orna, I know what you mean, girl, but I am at a time, I'm in a place in my life where I have had to let go of expectations of my mom. And I just have to love her for who she is because, I want a relationship with her. I'm like, the hell?
I mean, girl, did you not
What?
learn that stuffing stuff down for you does not work? It does not help because you know what? The things that you stuff down always come back out. And it's the same thing she does with Chris. And so, like that, hopefully, this was a light bulb moment and she made that connection to like, I can't stuff stuff down just to have a relationship because it hurts me in the end. And
Yeah.
it never stays locked away.
Yeah. Well, Orna helps her and leads her to the light switch and is like, well, have you thought about how many needs and expectations that you've suppressed? And she says, the way she thinks about it was like if she can get through her childhood, nothing can put her back in that place because she controls how she presents in the world. So she decided, I'm going to choose joy, and she never considered the ramifications of suppressing herself. And we hear Orna in a voiceover saying like, we all have a fantasy of the perfect mother, shared cultural ideas that moms know their children and they give and give and give no matter what, but then there's great disappointment when that mother doesn't show up um, in that way. But we have to recognize that the people that raised you are working with their own histories. And I think that's really true. I always say
Yeah.
one of the things that helped me was recognizing early that my mom was a flawed human being, because a lot of people are just like, oh, they romanticize and think like, oh, your parents, they put them on a pedestal and they're like, no one's going to love me like them. They know best. They know me best. And because they love you, they can't steer you wrong. But oh, yes, they can. In fact,
Yep.
parents are the first people who are gonna fuck you up in real
I mean,
life,
and we learn
intentionally or
this.
not.
Yep. And you learn this from this show and you learn this from people that you interact with. And I was watching something the other day where it talked about if you really want to know your partner, spend time with their family.
Yeah.
And that really gives you an insight like, oh, that's why you do what you do, or that's why you have
Yes.
these reactions, or that's why you do this. I think one thing I tell a
Yes.
lot is that my husband is incapable of sitting down. Like he's somebody that just cannot sit still. And I just never understood that until the first time I met his parents. And we were there maybe for a week or so. And when I tell you these people are doing something always, like if it got quiet in the room, his mom got up to clean something, or his dad went to mow the lawn, or somebody went for a walk, or somebody put together a puzzle, or somebody wanted to read a book, or like it, I was like, wow, wow, babe, I
Yeah.
understand. I can't fix it because I'm not that person, but I
Hmm.
understand if you just are itchy and you need to do something, that I have to let you just do something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so interesting when you
Yeah.
see people with
It's
their
really
families.
crazy how our childhoods really form
Hmm.
who we are as adults. Um,
Yep.
In today's edition of Questions I Wish Orna Asked, I wish that she asked about her dad. I wish that she asked about being biracial. How did that play into everything? And if her mom was a single mom, like, was her dad still involved? And, I always get into these questions of how do you define being a single parent? Like, do you define being a single parent when you are the primary parent, or are you a well, you're the primary parent but the other parent still shows up in some way, just not as much as you? Are you a single parent when it's everything is on you and it's just you and the other person is not in their life at all? Because everybody has different definitions, right,
Hmm.
of what a
But I
single
also thought it was
parent is.
interesting that we talked about. when Orna had that whole speech about, yes, we have these ideas about our moms and whatever, but Dad's cut off light. Like, and even in everybody telling their stories, to your point, like we don't hear about anybody's dad. Like even when Marjorie talks about her past, or Chris somewhat talks about his past, but like we don't ever hear about the dads. And so it's interesting to see why the moms, I guess from that maternal perspective, but the dads are supposed to, on paper, be there too. And so it's interesting that dads get off light
Yeah, light.
in
I
this.
think because the bar's on the floor for men, because bringing it back to Summer House, when everybody goes in Amanda and West, it's kind of like West, okay, we expect this because West, man, but like you expect more from a woman, which is bad, because then the fall from greatness is harder
Yeah.
because you're expecting and putting more on women, and it's just the answer is societal. It's society. That's where we are. So, okay, I'll take a break and I'll be back with Shay and Clinton. Okay, we're back with Shay and Clinton. I have decided that they are the couple I enjoy the least. They stress me out. I'm just always stressed, and I'm just like, where's this going? I don't know if I'm breathing, and I'm like, okay, we're done. And yeah, yeah.
Well, it just
So
doesn't, yeah, it just doesn't feel like there's like, what's the point? I mean, even if we unpack all these issues and we figure out like what's the root of this and what's the cause of this, okay, great, we got there. But what does that look like for you as a couple? And I don't think we've ever
yeah,
seen that. Like even in the clips, I think maybe this is the first time later that we saw them together outside of each other. Um, Otherwise, they seem to be very parallel people versus a an
yeah.
interconnected pair. So it's weird. I don't know what we're supposed to get out of this.
They seem comfortable in their toxicity, and they don't seem to want to get out of it. Like they're just accepting it as this is how it is. So I don't know. But we're hearing Shay say that she's always busy taking care of everything for everyone with her family, work, all the things. And no wonder this is how her relationship turned out. She's like, I do this every day in my everyday life and in my career. And I'm like, what do you do? Still want to know.
She
Are you
buys
still a
flowers.
model? Why do you like take care of everything for everyone in your career? What is it? And modeling doesn't take care of everyone. So
Right.
what is it? I want to know. So Clinton says, that's why sometimes I'm like, let me do some of that too. And he says he understands that because of how she grew up, she has to take the reins all the time. And I was like, Honor was like, oh, okay. How did you grow up? I'm like, it's time. Let's go, Shay. It's your
Open
turn.
that door. Open that door.
She says she grew up poor. Both parents were alcoholic. They grew up in Pennsylvania, and she was homeless for a part of that because her parents were not okay with her being gay. When she first came out as a gay man, and she was 14. Her mom called her the F word. I'm not going to repeat it. They actually said it on the show, and said, and I quote, wishes that she got AIDS and dies.
That's
Well,
insane.
Clinton offered that story. I mean, I think this is where it's great where you have that partner that's like, you're not going to tell it right. I'll be there. Like, get your
Yeah.
Drea on and tell us what the full thing is, because the gravity of a parent saying that to a kid who probably was so scared to come out is just you hear things like that, and I still don't understand why you want a relationship with that person. I just they don't.
I
I,
think, and I would imagine that at some point you hope your parents come around, because as much as people think parents should have unconditional love for their kids, like the idea that the person that brought you into this world doesn't love you is painful. And like, if this person that brought me into this world doesn't love and accept me, how will anybody else love and accept me? So I think that there's a desire to have a resolution there. And so I get why, yes, it'd be easy just to be like, all right, F you, you don't accept me. But then how do you marry that in your head about, if the people that brought me into, I'm half you and you don't love
Mhm.
me, how is anybody else in the world supposed to? So I could see why people would want to resolve that in some way, shape, or form.
Understood. Everybody deals with things differently.
You're all,
I
I agree to disagree.
No, 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 no. I'm trying to see how to phrase this because I mean, from personal experience, yes, I understand that. The thought of how would anyone love you if they don't, but I think we have to look at the other side, which it was in my case, is when you accept someone being that horrible to you just because they're a parent, it allows you to entertain behavior that is also harmful to you. So it's a lose lose either way. So
Agree.
you're here trying to reconcile. Oh, how else would anyone? Yes, they can, but they
Yeah.
can if you get yourself out of that toxicity and not staying there waiting for approval. Because in the bid to get that approval, you're hurting yourself and allowing other people to, and you're repeating patterns,
Yeah.
and you're just you know killing
And
yourself
I
slowly.
and I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying it's a good way to manage these relationships, but I could see why if somebody's stuck in that or if they want that, why they would want that. But I also think it also informs why uh, Shay is somebody that wants to take care of everybody because she wasn't taken care of.
Yeah, it does. But much like everything in life, we all have, listen, every single person on earth, I don't care how much money or anything you have, we all have our crosses to bear. And at some point, as we get older, we have to now start taking responsibility and addressing all these things and trying to deal with them. They can't be our not personality for the rest of it. So when that
Right.
happens, yeah, you take care of them, you happen, but then as you get older, okay, now how are we gonna work with how are we gonna fix this? Like
Right.
I'm not gonna take care of everybody to the ground, pay off their credit cards, get mad because oh I wasn't taken care of. So then okay, I should hurt myself. Like like don't burn yourself to keep others warm, okay? Like just fix it. So, I mean, I feel like I'm sounding harsh. That's not the point. My point is like, it's just that as she's getting older and she seems to not like it, like, oh, no one's taking care of me. But you're also creating that scenario where everyone looks at you as a caretaker, which is what I know we get on Clinton, but that's what he's saying. You feel you need to take the reins all the time, but what are you projecting? What part are you playing in people wanting to take care? Maybe it's easier to just be like, okay, just handle it, then deal with the other side that comes out when other people try to take care of it too. So she has to take responsibility that it's not something that's happening to you. You are kind of contributing it to it happening to you, you know?
Right. Agreed.
So okay. So this is the first time that after she said what her mom said to her, this is the first time that Shay is not even keeled. Like she's crying, her voice is having different octaves, is not the same like it always was. And she tells us that she used to do drag and until she met a trans woman for the first time at 16. Then in college, she started wearing partially men's clothes, partially women's clothes, and then her senior year, she just went full time women's clothes, and she just started showing up to her house full time in women's clothes. So everyone was against her transitioning. Her voice is getting irate. She's just like you can see everything flooding back to her. We can see it in real time. And she says her mom is like the dom of the house. Like the way it worked was that you will respect her and her word is final. That when I asked, like, so how was that relationship? That did you submit to her? And she's like, oh, yes, I submitted to my mom most of my life. And I just never fought her for anything. So when she remembers a memory when she said no to not wanting a bath, and her mom went into her room, took everything out of the room, including the furniture, locked her in there, and just left her there. And I'm like,
That is
between this and
wild.
Chris's mom, I don't forget she said they were alcoholics too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whew.
And this is when people are like, why don't you have kids? I'm like, because, the Menendez brothers have kids. Like, you never know. And I'm sure when these people had these kids, this was not their plan. This is not, they said, I'm going to be the kind of parent that says the most horrendous things to my kids and does all of this. Like, I don't, like, not everybody should be a parent. And this is why. And this is also why I'm overly nice to kids. But like if I see a kid around, especially a kid that's, they're with their parents and their parents are working and the kid is being dragged along. Like if I could be nice to a kid for 5 minutes because I don't know what it looks like in your home, I'm going to do that because childhood is not the same for everybody. And this stuff is wild. So wild.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I don't think I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that Clinton was trying to hijack the story, but he kind of did
Yeah, I
because
thought that too.
he steered the convo to himself and says, he understands where she's coming from with that because he feels like their mothers are similar. Shay says he's saying that Shay has like tells him from time to time like she doesn't want to be like her mother, but she does feel like both their parents are manipulative. He said like my mother hid my diagnosis from me. Don't know about you, but it's pretty damn manipulative. I'm like, okay.
Go Clinton.
That's what he said. And he says, but sometimes he feels like Shay is encroaching on there and it shows up in their relationship. And Orna is like, okay, how? And he says, well, when she says, if you would just listen to me, nothing will go wrong. And she's like, I disagree. And it's funny because Shay says that she's not able to express herself, but I don't think she realizes that that's also kind of the case with Clinton in this case, because he's like, you can see walking on eggshells to kind of say, I'm not saying that you're exactly like your mom,
Mhm.
but you could be cousins. Like you're right there. He's like, no, that's why I said encroaching. Like I'm not there, but he wanted to be like, no, every now and then, like you just come up and like, no, you have to do it my way or the highway. But he's like being really careful about what he says. And Shay's just like, nope, I disagree. Which, by the way, do you remember that they had homework last week? We didn't hear nothing about that.
Yeah. I'm gonna put that on editing in terms of what we have time for because we needed to devote time to Shay's history.
Oh,
But yeah,
yeah.
I think going
Yeah.
into this, I was actually not proud of Clinton, but I was very attentive to what he was doing, and he was very calm. Like normally, he's fidgeting and he's going back and forth and whatever. And I don't know if it's because he
It wasn't
wasn't
about him.
anxious.
It
Yeah,
wasn't
and
about him.
so
Yeah.
yeah, but I think that's something that I haven't seen before is him be that calm presence for her. And so she, not that he allowed her, but she had that space to kind of talk about herself. And so when he started talking about himself, I tensed up. I was like, no, we were so close. And so I'm sad that this went off in a different direction because she was doing so well, but then she got so defensive about no, you're not describing me. And so instead of recognizing that he was trying to relate, he wasn't doing a good job about it. But I think he was trying to say, hey, I think I understand what you're feeling because I'm feeling this. And this is why I react to you the way I do because in my experience, this is how I would want to be treated. But it didn't come across that way. And I'm so sad because I think it could have been a moment where they could have connected and he was trying to help.
I mean, I'm still gonna put that on Shay
No.
because, like you said, she got really defensive. She's like, "When I say thing is not control. We are discussing things, but in my house there was no discussion in my house." It also explains why when Shay speaks, she's very careful and very even keeled because I think maybe she's trying not to, consciously trying not to be her mom and not sound so militant, but all that was thrown out the window this episode. But she's very, very insistent that I am nowhere near my mom. And she just gave that look. And I almost wanted to be like, well, exhibit A, you're saying you're not, but everything in your body language and everything you're doing right now because I think it's her biggest fear being said out loud. Like, how dare you? Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to be like that, but sometimes, nature versus nurture. I just you can't even help it. But I don't know. Did that happen? And then that was it for them. And I'm like, oh, even the producers are tired of them. Like they had the shortest segment. It just ended that way. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess we're done. Moving on. So that was it. Okay. Drea and Nessa. These people. I'm sure Orna wants to
I
kick them out.
was I was confused. Like from the moment they walked into the waiting room, I was like, what's happening? Why are they so happy? Why does everything feel so light? Like I don't even think I've seen Nessa smile. And Nessa smiled. And I was like, I don't what's happening here?
Well, let me tell you guys what
Tell
happened.
me,
So,
tell me.
I mean, I don't know. We didn't fully expect uh Nessa, well, Drea to stand on business, did we? No. But I was worried for a second that we wouldn't get them because they've been doing three couples for a while,
Mm.
so y'all know I enjoy watching them. So I was happy when they came in, and they're in the waiting room, and Drea is all smiley, and she's like, "I know you love me." Nessa's like, "I do love you," and Drea's like, "I also know I'm crazy." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no," and then they come into the office, and these psychos are like, we know we left in a bad state last time. And Nessa's like, yeah, but I went to a Caribbean festival and just came back last night and we both missed each other. And Drea says, I mean, even before that, like, and she's looking at her with lovey dovey eyes. And again, remember, I'm watching it in real time and I had no idea what was coming. And I wrote down in my notes, oh my God, Drea looks like she's been freshly fucked. So I was like, oh no, these are the eyes of a woman who's had a good time. So Nessa says, yeah, and Orna's just looking like, I know you fucking lying. Like, okay, tell me how we
What's
got
happening?
here.
She's like, what's
And
happening
Nessa,
here? It's what's happening. There's a shift and I need to know what's happening.
and she has that bifocal stare too. And Nessa says, well, we're pretty emotional after that last session. And, after the session, we just went to dinner and then we went home and then we had an enjoyable time together. Orna says, the two of you?
That was hilarious. I spit water out of my mouth, but she was like, wait, both of you? Too?
Interesting. Then she goes, I mean, great. Okay, how did we get here? Andrea says, I think both of us just felt really bad and knew that we could make each other feel better. And I'm like, this is not good. The reason I say this is not good, Drea, I understand. Drea is in love with Nessa. Nessa, according to all she's been bitching at us for the last 4 episodes, is that she's not down. She wants to be free. So, Nessa, what's up? It almost feels like you're taking advantage of the feelings that she has for you. You flat out said, she's my best friend. There's no romantic relationships. I don't want to have sex with her. Let's take sex off the table. Come on.
But also, you've said some very horrendous things about this woman. So, why did, out of all of the times that you've said horrendous things about her, and as ostensibly last week was the end, like she was like, Drea was done and she was out the door. And Nessa went home and was like, let me reel you back in real quick.
Well, but
That's
that's the
crazy.
thing. I don't have expectations of Drea because again, she's in love. Drea's the one who's not the lower hand, but she doesn't have the upper hand. Like she's the one that wants to stay. So I understand that. But Nessa, that's why didn't Orna ask her? So what are you thinking? Your feelings just magically change? But
Hmm.
Drea says, "Oh, I don't want to say this and bite my tongue off, but I've noticed that when Nessa gets to go do things she wants to do by herself, she returns in better spirits. She's affectionate. Basically, she comes back horny. I don't know why she just didn't say that. She said worse. There, like that was my interpretation. And Jen, I gotta tell you, I was dumbfounded. I'm like, Drea, you are the one that's gonna suffer. So the next time she feels that you think you're doing something regular, coupley, like, oh, I just want to spend time with you, and Nessa feels suffocated, the yo-yo of it all. You're the one that's gonna suffer for it. Nessa's fine.
And I just, and were you thinking like, because again, and we were back to the, I was back to the original question of, if your partner says they want to go on a trip alone, do you allow them? And so I guess she finally said, well, let me try this. If your partner asks for this and you give them this, and it turns out good, because ostensibly Nessa came back happier and lighter and was able to see and see Nessa, or sorry, see Drea in another way. Because like even in the waiting room, when Drea said, "Oh, I know I'm crazy," and Nessa very comfortably said, "No, we don't say crazy." So I don't know. I don't know. I just don't trust this. I've gone without you because I feel like how are you out and independent? What happens there? Like what is happening when you're away from your partner that makes then coming back to your partner easier? And that's the piece that I wish Orna had dove into because it doesn't make sense
Yeah,
to me.
and it doesn't feel sustainable. So recently we covered Love is Blind Poland, and there was a couple who just kept fighting and fighting. And then they were like, okay, but we were fine in the pods. Let's recreate being in the pods. And they took a door, went to the bathroom, and I was like, is this supposed to be cute? Because this is stupid. Because every time you're in a rough place, are you going to pretend that you're in the pods? It's not realistic. So in this case, it's like every time you feel like you're in a rut, she has to go do something by herself. Like, that's what we have to do now.
Yeah.
Like, we can't just have that. Like, it feels good because it's, oh, this is the first time, this is new. Then what becomes the rules of engagement? Like,
Right.
what is Drea going to be okay with, not okay with, and why do I don't know. It just seems
Yeah.
complicated
It
that
seems like a slippery slope. Slippery slope.
yes, and it's too soon to say like, okay, this is what works for us because it's a novelty right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
anyways, Drea says like it was nice being by herself and doing things herself, and the independence felt good, and it's just something she's never done before. And when Nessa was not around, usually she would just stay home and she wouldn't even go to work. Oh, take the kid to daycare? And Orna's like, what? Why? She says,
Yeah.
I just leave Drea to do all the things. And Orna says again, why? And she says, well, I mean, I think she was hearing herself saying out loud and was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
this kind of sounds silly. And she's like, in my head, she's taking care of me. And I thought for a second, like, oh, am I understanding where Nessa is coming from? Because, guys, I did not know that it was to the extent of if she's not around, I'm not going to leave the house. That's a lot.
That is a lot, but why wouldn't Nessa bring that up before? Like, that's a big deal. Cause I mean, I've been anti Nessa this whole time, thinking, like, here's this woman doing all of
Yeah.
these things, but I didn't realize that her life was on pause when Nessa wasn't around. Like, that's a huge, huge, huge thing to leave out of this. And so, yeah, not that it changes all my feelings for Nessa, but I think that's something that could have been brought up way earlier that she completely shuts down and doesn't live her life. Like she's on pause when
Yeah.
Nessa's
Like
gone.
it's
That's wild.
it's literally ball and chain. Like
Yeah.
you can't do anything. And I'm like, that's pretty heavy when the onus of somebody else is completely dependent on you. That, like, honestly, I feel like the right word is suffocating. Like,
Yeah.
there's nowhere
Wow.
else to put it. So Honor is like, well, who else in your family is like that? And she's like, no one. And then Nessa gives a look. And, Nessa did not do a lot of talking. I applaud her for that. Usually she's the one who's the narrator in their sessions. And she just gives a look and Drea turns to her and is like, what? What do you want me to say? That I want to be taken care of because I didn't feel taken care of by my mother and that I felt unseen? I'm like, okay, well, there you go. You told her yourself.
Yeah.
And Honor is like, Orna is like, is that true? And she goes, I guess. And then she says, this is a thing that a lot of people we see on this show fall into. They don't want to say things that disparages their parents or loved one's character. She's like, I don't know how deep I want to get into talking about my mother. That, I love my mom, but I wish that she loved me as her child. And
Oh,
honestly, I don't know if she does. And I'm like,
oh,
oh,
that's so
oh
painful. So painful.
she said she just discarded us. And she was like, well, some of us, like some of her children, she talks to some. And I'm like, what would get you to the point where you only talk to some of your children, but maybe they have different fathers and
Yeah, that's what I'm
one
thinking.
father wielded a lot of trauma on there. She says her daughter is 4 and she has maybe seen her just 6 times in her entire life. And her mom lives 15 minutes away from her. She will
Mm.
not call. She will not answer when she's called. And she can't think of her saying she loves her or even a hug. And Orna is just like, whoa. She says that her mom ironed her clothes, cleaned the room. She's like, yeah, she's not doing all of that, but oh, she's going to iron her clothes, clean the room. That she was the typical Italian mom. And I'm like, oh, she got a white mama too. Okay. It is important. I don't know. I just feel like now it's two for two. It's just such a layered conversation, but it feels like we have white mothers who are stuck with these children who are biracial, but maybe in their eyes, they're just seeing them as black or non white and they don't know what to do with them. And they couldn't be bothered to find out what to do with them.
Right. And
And
also
that's
just
a
the
whole other thing.
yeah, and that's the idea of I'm giving you your basic necessities. I'm giving you, if we're talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like I'm giving you your basic stuff. You have food, you have shelter, you have someplace to live. I'm going to show up to your doctor's appointment and that's it. Like I've done the basic of my duties of care and that's it. I'm not giving you that next level of safety and self-actualization and all that. We're not doing that. I'm giving you your basic needs and that's my job. I'm out.
Yeah. I mean, I put mac
That's
and
scary.
cheese.
That's crazy.
We cut up hot dogs for you for dinner. Now you want me to hug you? Are you crazy?
Right.
Too much.
Exactly.
Too much,
Right.
please. Oh God.
And especially
So,
since we don't know how many, do we know how many siblings
mm-mm,
she has? Yeah,
mm-mm,
because we don't even know how many
mm-mm.
kids we're talking about that this woman was taking care
Yeah,
of. And the same with Sienna. Like, was she the only kid? There's so many, yeah, so many questions.
I think Sienna was only child,
Was
but
she the only
yeah,
child?
yeah. So Drea says that what she feels. Oh, I think Orna asked her like, "Oh, what do you think?" And I'm like, "Oh, she waited for her turn." So Drea says that part of what she feels that Nessa doesn't do things is like a fear, and she hears this a lot of not being able to. That she hears her often say, "I don't know if I can," and she always comes up with like negative things. Like she's a catastrophizer, and she says that this is Drea that she didn't get a driver's license because well, she did, but she never drove, or her mom. No, her mom got one. So let me start this over. Dreyer never got a driver's license. She never got one because her mom got one eventually, but never drove because all she spoke about was her getting into a car accident. So because of that fear, she never got her license till she was 34. But also, she's in New York. I don't know. Do they even
That's what I was thinking. Like, there's a lot of
know?
people in New York City that don't know how to drive. You don't, you there's
Yeah.
enough public transportation that you could live there forever and never drive.
Yeah. Nessa acknowledges that, I just want to acknowledge that Dreyer talking is growth and that's attractive to her. And then she beams. And then we get a montage of like their relationship. I thought it was their relationship, but then it's for all the couples. We just start seeing pictures of all of them and, how their, relationships over the years were going. So
Yeah, and some of them were unrecognizable. They were so happy. I was like, "Oh, is that a smile on your face? I don't even know. I didn't know your face could do that."
I don't know. This is really making me scared because the pessimist in me, I always just see the worst case scenario is like, is this Nessa's attempt at having another child? I don't know.
Oh, like is she playing nice so that Drea will
I
have
mean,
another baby?
the switch up is so like real. Like honestly, they haven't seen each other all week, guys. She went to a festival, she came back the day before. So the last time they saw each other was the night they had that horrible thing of separation and they were saying all the things and Nessa was just like, "So what's next? What are we doing?" And now we come back and she's attractive and I want her and it's fine. I just wow. I mean, good for them if it is, but I'm
No.
with Orner. Orner says interesting, and it's like, oh wait, great, but okay. How did we get here? So I'm curious to see what she tells Virginia or whoever else next week about it, or if she has any suspicions or if she believes that this is real. I'm just worried for Drea.
Yeah, but then the part that we didn't talk about was that Drea actually took some initiative to do things. She instead of when Nessa was gone, instead of just holding up and shutting powering down, she actually went shopping and she hung out with friends and she did something. So maybe that's why Nessa is also finding this situation a little bit more tenable because a she got what she wanted, where she got some of this independence, but then while she was gone Drea didn't completely shut down. Like Drea started taking the steps to be the person that Nessa, and I'm sorry, I'm pausing. It's hard keeping their names straight. But that Nessa wanted her to be and wanted her to be the driver in her own life. And so Drea started taking that
Yeah.
stuff. And so maybe Nessa found that attractive, and some of that walls
Yeah.
that she had up came down.
Yeah, Jen, but it goes back to what we were saying. It's one time. So that one time made all your feelings change. You haven't seen each other. You went from really like feelings you've had for like a year and some. And then just because she went out on hunger with her friends one time, you don't even know if it's going to happen again. How many
But
trips does she have to take to be in a good mood? Drea says, oh, when she goes and does her own thing, she comes back happy. So now I have to chase her all the time outside the house to make her happy to come back to see me. I just,
and
it's not
Tane,
sustainable.
Tane, I am nowhere near being a Nessa apologist. I am not a fan. But th- maybe this is how change happens: is something needs to shift. And so, if me being the exact same way isn't changing, isn't shifting, isn't it moving us in a forward direction? Maybe if I change this thing, I let her do this thing that she wants to do. I start doing things on myself, on my own, to establish my independence. And whether that means they stay together or not, it's good that Drea has changed this for herself. It's good that she's changed her behavior for herself.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think I'm more scared at the way Nessa's feelings can switch up, I guess. Like it could be anything at any time, so
Agreed. And my long term question for all of this is, what is she doing when she's away? Is she just, I just want space and I just want to experience other people, or are you cheating? And that's the part that, are you just, or maybe she's just cuddling, I don't know. But that's the part that is a mystery to us. And that's why I think I'm uncomfortable with Nessa just going off on her own. It's like, well, what are you doing at these things? If it's just, hey, I need a breather and I just need to power down or whatever, I would want some clarity, and maybe Drea needs some clarity on what's happening so I can feel comfortable with you being gone. If you're just experiencing the world in a way that I don't want to experience the world, that's fine. But as long as there's some parameters around that, you're not cheating, you're not developing, you're not having emotional affairs, you're not doing the things that are a threat to our relationship, then I can be open to that. And so maybe that's what needed to happen. I don't know.
good luck to them.
Vaya con Dios.
Whatever happens, we will watch and see, but fully expect this to be something completely different because again, I'm not gonna have to travel all the time just to make you happy. Yeah, I just it's the fact that Drea was smiling when she said that too. Like I find that when she does her own thing, she comes back happier. So, anyways,
Yeah, that wouldn't work for me, but
final couple, Marjorie and Jason. They get into the waiting room and things are frosty. And as they sit, she goes, there goes your book over there, deviant behavior. I'm like, there goes Marjorie. Come on. She tells Orna that okay, I didn't like the way this was produced because they were mentioning all these names, saying all these things like we should
yeah,
know who these people are.
yeah,
Eventually it clicks, but it was just like, come on, I don't like doing homework on my TV shows. So
yeah.
she tells Orner, like, he told her, 7-year-old Ryan, like, your grandmother, you don't call her grandma. You got to call her Lois. And she's not a grandma. You have to call her by her name. And she was furious because he's 7. Jason is like, yeah, I went fishing with Ryan. We had a very nice trip. We were sitting having a conversation. He was upset that his grandma wouldn't pick him up, but would pick up his cousins. I don't even know if that was a mistake or if they met her older children because I'm like, what cousins? Who's living there? Like, we don't know. Marjorie is like, why does he need to know that? Like, and I'm again so confused. Honor is like, okay, you guys are talking at the same time. Like, because while she's still talking, Jason is like, I'm not going to play that game of pretending that grandma loves you and cares about you when she does not. And Honor is like, play what game? Okay, let's rewind. What is happening? He says that Grandma Lois, I yeah, Marjorie's mom, pulls up to pick up Bailey. Apparently, we're supposed to know who Bailey is. I don't know if it's her child. I don't know if it's one of the cousins that live with them. I don't know. They told us they had cats and dogs, not cousins. So he runs outside. That's Ryan, and so excited to see his grandma and is asking for a hug, and she wouldn't even unbuckle her seatbelt. And he's like reaching over trying to hug, and she wouldn't even come out to hug him. He's like, I'm watching this and my heart is breaking for him. And Orna asked Marjorie, like, okay, how do you feel? Because, this is your mom. And Marjorie is like, I feel like she does love him. Listen, we went to the park the other day and they held hands. Oh my God. It was so beautiful. I took a picture because what? It was so beautiful. And he's like, he doesn't see those moments. And the reason she acts the way she does, I mean, she does that. Like, it's not nice, but she acts that way because she doesn't like Jason. Let's pause, Jen.
So many
One,
pauses.
we are not, I repeat, going to praise this woman for holding the hands of her grandson. It was so beautiful because it's so few and far between that you want to
Hmm.
have pictures to be like, oh
Hmm.
man, look what they did. It's like when someone breadcrumbs a romantic interest. Like, hey, I bought you lunch today. I must love
Right.
you. Woo!
Right.
And then you go back to being mean. And I was just so annoyed because, I mean, I'm judging Marjorie because I already think her parenting style is crazy. Like, this whole 80 miles each way is insane to
Insane.
me.
Hmm.
The watching the kids, they didn't help to pack and she's just sitting there and she didn't tell them to pack. Like, that's insane to me. So this, like, he's defending your child and you're defending your mom, and it just pisses me off. In all of the things that happen within adults, the concern should always be the children. My mind thinks that, but
Yeah.
I'm beginning to learn as I get
Especially
older
because
that
I
it
think
is
Mark.
not. I just Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no, no, no. Keep going. You're on a roll. Go.
No, I was just like, especially because I just thought that once you have a kid, according to what people say, they're your number one priority. You would kill for them, you would die for them, and that's it. So when I see these situations where you're like, making excuses, and I'm just like, why? Fuck the other people. Your kid is number one.
But that goes back to, and wasn't that the whole thing last week when Margie was talking about her mom, and like her mom wasn't like her mom was
Yeah,
expecting her to be perfect, and so she had all these good feelings about her mom, but then she realized, oh no, she said all these damaging things to me. And so I think Jason is trying to protect everybody. Like, I don't want my son to feel how you felt. Like, you had the she was able to be fake to you, or she was able to be fake outwardly, and look how that affected you. I'm going to
yeah,
protect my son from this. So I get where he was coming from, and I don't understand Marjorie not being like, my kid. I think Bailey's their daughter. If I understood, I needed like
yeah, yeah.
a whiteboard to keep up with all of this. But like, if Marjorie's going to go above and beyond for her daughter and drive this crazy 80 miles just to take her to school to make sure she's got a great uh, it doesn't impact her high school, why wouldn't you extend the same thing to your son? And I couldn't figure out, like, is Ryan just Jason's son? But I
No, it's
think
both their
it's
sons.
both their son together. So I don't
Yeah,
know, but it
because it's her
just
mom. Yeah.
it's yeah, it's a lot. And I think Marjorie really needs to step in and not put her blinders on, not only to protect her son, but also to protect her husband.
Oh, that no, her husband is not her priority right now. So
No, he
she would
never
never
is.
protect him.
He
Yeah.
never is, but I think that's why he's going so hard in the paint on this.
I don't understand Marjorie. I really don't.
No.
I don't know what she stands for or what she's, the things that she fights so hard for are not the important things. And this is what I mean by, if you spend your time seeking that validation from that parent that has made it clear, like, what do you think is going to change?
Yeah.
Like, do you think there's going to be a chance? Everything suffers. You suffer and you drag it down. Now your kid is suffering, but you're so deep in the pain of wanting the approval of your mom that your kid is suffering it. Now a 7-year old is already feeling rejected,
Right.
like a 7-year old is already feeling like a family member is choosing another family member. Honestly, I'm also mad at Bailey because don't come pick me up if you're not going to pick up my brother. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Like, again, that is something I've done in my personal life. Whereas, like, if you're not going to do this, don't drag me along. Don't let me be the favorite. I don't want it. You
Right.
know. So I just, this really, it made me see red. I was like, what are we doing here? And the thing is, like, you don't want to see what he's saying because she did admit it when she was saying, oh, it was so beautiful in the park. And then she's like, the reason why she does what she does. So you do know that she's doing something. And even if your mom doesn't like Jason, what the heck did a 7-year-old do to you to take it
Exactly.
out on him? That's
Exactly.
horrible.
Yep.
So
Hated it.
horrible. Like,
Hated it.
listen, my grandma did that to me. Like, she just treated me like trash, and it's truly, truly fucked up. It's something that lives with you, and it's just like, you know. Anyways, so Jason says, yeah, she goes through the motion. That's Marjorie's mom, and does what's right. But in her heart, it's not there. Marjorie is like, I mean, it's fucked up. I agree. But she still says, but you can't say that. You don't know what's in her heart. I'm like, Marjorie, stop talking like this is casual. This is a thing that's going to live with your son and going to manifest in how many years later. And what are you going to do about it at that point? Like, does it matter? Like, her actions her action speaks louder than any. I hate that Marjorie has made us side with Jason one too many times.
I know.
That's the crux of it all.
I know.
So Orna says, I don't know, I don't think I was feeling Orna this episode, but Orna says, like, Jason, your feelings are leaking out. And he says, well, I just really feel bad for Ryan, as he should. It's his
Yeah.
child.
Yeah. I felt like Orna was off this one. Like, we're targeting the wrong person. Was he getting riled up? Yes, but he gets riled up
Yes.
when he cares, and he should care. He should care about his kid. And so I think the target of this discussion was not the right person. This definitely should have been like, Marjorie, look what's happening. Look what's happening to your son. Look what's happening to your son. Look what's happening to your
Yeah.
husband. And you're at the crux of all this. Like, you're the person that can change
You
this.
have the power, not Sienna.
Yes.
You
Right.
have the
Yes.
power. Or don't you see that in your bid to have your mom's approval, like maybe it's carrying over from when you were younger and you're choosing not to see it for what it is? And
Hmm.
instead, you're making it nice, look better than it actually is, and you should be protecting him. And then maybe she'll see it that way, but she just goes up to him and is like, because Ryan is like, if it were up to me, I would just stop it altogether. Like, I don't want him to deal with this. And Orna is like he says it's fake, and Orna is like, talk to me about someone being fake. And I'm with him because he's like, you are protecting your mom. And then he says like his dad was absent and he felt like an outsider. Like his dad left his mom and started a whole no, cheated on his mom, started a whole new family and married the woman that he cheated with. And every time he went over, he felt like a guest. And that's why this is so loud for him. And Marjorie is like, ugh, he's just trying to make any little thing into a big issue. And Jen, I lost it. This is where I was
Yeah.
just like,
This is where you need to be punched in the face. Like, this is another time where Jason's telling you, and even in the session where you're in a setting where you're supposed to listen to him, he's telling you how he feels, and you're like, nope, boring. Next. That's crazy. Wild.
and it's her child. That's 7.
Yes.
But
Ugh.
he says, you can say anything you want, but your mom is ice cold, bro. Like, I'm not trying to project, but Orna says, like, but you are. I'm like, Orna, what are we doing here? And Orna says, like, you are speaking to her like you're speaking to your father. And it was like, wait, so you think I'm fabricating stuff? She's like, no, but you're amplifying stuff. And what happened to you is not what is happening to your son. And you're inducing this feeling to him. And Marjorie's like, yes, exactly. It's not the same. And I'm like,
No.
what? I just,
No.
no,
And we talked
I'm
about
not with
where
Orna here.
are the dads, and this is a present dad. This is a dad that's
Yeah.
sticking up for their kid, and this is a dad that's saying, I see this, I'm going to protect my son for this. And he doesn't get the benefit of the doubt, or he doesn't get, not the credit, but he doesn't get the acknowledgement that the fault here is with the mom, and the mom being Marjorie. So
Yeah.
this one was infuriating. This could have
Yes.
been like a 3 couple episode,
Yes.
because
Yes. He
this was
wasn't
useless.
being heard.
No.
In fact, they're making him say like he's overreacting. Can you really overreact when it comes to kids in this day and age, though?
No,
Really?
not in
No.
family, and not when you're protecting them, and not when you're protecting them from family. No.
Oh my goodness. But anyways, she says when an issue is unresolved in someone, they will always find a way to repeat the issue and resolve it. Whether it's mastering something they couldn't master before or right something that went wrong, and it takes deep work to get out of that pattern. Oh, by the way, the session was over. That was it. This is her just giving a voiceover as we suddenly see Marjorie, Jason, and Ryan presumably like walking on like a pier. It felt like a pier or something they were walking
Yeah.
on. And
Hmm.
then we get a montage of all the couples, as that was the theme among them all, like just them with their family. And I just want to point out that we got pictures of Sienna with her mom and dad. But how was her mom a single mom?
Oh, I totally missed that. I think I got caught up with Sienna with her hair blown out and
Yeah.
relaxed, and I was like, "Oh, this is a different
Yeah.
version of you versus the version that you are now." Like,
Yeah.
I'm so curious about that transition and how she's changed and what made her go natural. So many
I
questions.
mean, it could be a number of things. I went
So many
natural. I said I
questions.
would never go natural, but I was just like, no more relaxers, and it is what it is. So, but yeah, but that was my question. Was just there were pictures like if he wasn't there at all, I don't know how he would be convinced to take a family picture, and there was more than
Mm,
one, and that's why I think she's the only child because she was the only child there between both of
gotcha.
them. So I just wanted more. Like, how is she a single mom, and when did if their dad was there, when did he leave, and
Hmm.
stuff. So yeah, so that was it for this
Whew.
episode.
Whew. I'm, I'm, I was emotionally exhausted when we tired now, or I was emotionally exhausted when we started. Now I'm physically.
Well, before we leave, can you tell people where they can find you?
Yes, you can find us traipsing through Southeast Asia. We're in Bali now, and so you can find what we're doing at jns.adventures on Instagram and YouTube.
Okay, guys, you know where to find me. It is Tain Talks on all of the social media platforms: Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Twitter, or you can send an email at taintalks@gmail.com. Please give me a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and stay subscribed so you don't miss out on any new episodes. Until next time, guys. Also, let us know what do you think about this episode and every single couple, and especially Jason. Like Jason and Marjorie, where do you stand on all of that? Let me know. Until next time, guys. Bye.